Hey guys, we just got done watching Five Nights at Freddy's. This is a video game movie, and we are reviewing it super late. But because it is the second most successful video game adaptation of all time in theaters, I thought it prudent to talk about it and give our opinion on it. So we just saw it on Peacock. If you don't know, the film came out simultaneously on Peacock and in theaters, and it's doing amazingly well in theaters. It's $130 million worldwide, $80 million in the U.S. alone. And I think just kids are going out to see this with their parents. Younger people, maybe if you grew up with the games, are going out to see it. And but what I had heard from it is pretty negative. And so then I kind of, passed up on it. I'm not a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan. The game, the first game was fun enough. You did some jump scare, cool little indie game, and then it turned into a megalo, just massive kind of franchise kind of thing. And so I'm not going to pretend that I know all the lore and the different animatronics and what happens in the second game and the third game and the fifth game. I don't know none of that shit, okay? What I know is, what did I think of the film? Was it a good, effective horror film? And did it provide me with what I was hoping for or looking for?
The answer to that is
no. So if you look here at the Rotten Tomatoes, it's in the 20s, 29% from critics, but 89% from audiences. And this is one of those, just like, are you with the critics? Are you with the audiences? Everybody's like, the critics are fucking morons. You don't know what they're talking about. And the audience is like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. It's so fucking cool.
It's not the best.
I mean, it's like fucking 90%, Joe. Jesus Christ, it's close to that. So I'm sure there are people out there that is like, this is amazing. This is the best movie.
Best horror they are out there. But
so here's what I thought of Five Nights at Freddy's after watching it. I felt like I wasted my time. It was boring. It was unscary. It focused mainly on a subplot, the backstory to this guy who lost his brother when he was out camping with his family. And they really, really bring that subplot to towards the middle of the film. It intertwines with the main plot, and it gets wild, and that's what it's mostly about. It's, and I thought that everything was so matter of fact. The reveals, the surprises, it was so dull.
You got surprises?
So flat. Yeah, there were revelations in the film that are supposed to be interesting. They're not. The whole thing is unscary. And honestly, I came in and, first 20 minutes, I'm like, this is not that bad. I told Joe, I was like, all right, we got a good setup here. And by the end of the film, I'm like, yeah, fuck. That's what we thought. So I don't have a problem with the set design. I think that Let me give some praise before we tear into it. Okay, it looks the way it should.
Yes,
I think fantastic on set design. I like the look of it. It's dark, gritty. I like the effects. I like the animatronics. They nail the animatronics. Okay, they don't fuck that up, and it is quite faithful in many aspects, other than this subplot that they bring in. From what I understand, quite faithful. And so all the pieces are there. So I would just want to get everybody back into the room to refilm the whole thing, with a different story.
Well, you're going to get more, so.
Yes, because this did $80 million in the U.S. alone on a $20 million budget, $130 worldwide. We're sure to see sequels. The director was saying that if the first film is successful, he wanted to do a trilogy, 2 more films. And they leave this film open. In fact, the ending is completely unsatisfying. The final villain or whatever is not even resolved very much. And if you wait till after the credits, there's not an additional scene. There is a robotic voice spelling out letters, which is revealed to. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section.
That's why you like it.
So unfortunately, I'm sad to report Five Nights at Freddy's is a waste of your time and money. I think it's not a very good film. And if it's on Netflix or something, then yeah, you can watch it. Yeah. But don't spend the money that I did. Don't spend I went to Peacock, and I was going to spend the $12 for no ads so we can watch it. Don't do that. $12.99. Don't do that. I did the $5.99 for $6, and I still feel like a waste of my money. We watched 2 minutes of ads before the film, and not a single ad played throughout the film. So you can go that angle, and then immediately cancel, unless you're really into Twisted Metal, which I know a lot of you are. And in fact, I'm willing to bet the people that love Twisted Metal probably love this film too. All right. Little shot at you. So that was me. Go ahead and pour your hate on me. But let's see if you can pour your hate on Joe and Alex as
go
well.
ahead, because I honestly did not like it. I thought the pacing on this was terrible.
Yeah.
I hated it. It like ruined anything it kind of set up at Five Nights. Like if we're there,
Joe is counting the nights.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well.
But the film doesn't.
Yeah, it's like nothing's happening. I was like, okay, well, that's all right. Well, we got 3 more nights, 2 more nights. It's like, well, I'm just counting down. It takes you out of the whole element. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot this is about the robots, not about Mike and his trauma with this, trying to find his brother or what the fuck happened. I still like Banana Split better and Willy's Wonderland.
Fuck, I never saw Banana Splits. So
Those
you
are
think
better.
Banana Split is better than this?
Yes, that's
I
better.
agree that Willy's Wonderland is better. In fact, Willy's Wonderland's, Killers
But yeah,
or,
I'm
or
saying those two
Five
movies
Night
are better than this
animatronics
one.
Are a
And
better Five Nights than this.
I think had they done a better job of this guy just like he's stuck there for 5 days or something, it's more tension filled as opposed to like
Him going
night
home.
1. All right, now we got to do this and this.
Yep.
Oh, my aunt is trying to take my sister away. This and that. I was like,
There's drama here.
If I want to see Five Nights at Freddy, the main thing is there.
Yeah.
Have him locked in that room, trying to get out
Get it,
something and like have like stuff happen, but all the energy and everything just went out day after day. I'm just waiting, counting
resetting,
down.
fucked up the
Yeah.
atmosphere, and I agree with you. That's a great point.
Yeah, so
They bring in an attractive young cop. She's kind of creepy. She
you
seems
know
like she
something's
has a
going
banana,
on.
you
It's
know,
like just fucking
you see it
say
coming from a
yes.
mile away. Essentially.
So, did not have fun with this.
Yeah.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good movie. I don't think that there's any tension in the movie.
No.
I don't think the jump scares were
Oh
good.
my God, you guys are fucking critics.
Yep.
Yeah. It's our job.
Yeah, I mean, and so the difference between I don't think this is a 1 or anything.
No.
And so when something on Rotten Tomatoes gets like an 80 or 90%, that just means 90% of the people think it's above average. And when the critics, it's like, it could be the critics all think this is a 4, and audiences are like, yeah, fuck it, it's a 6. I'm hoping. Because I don't think that, I mean, I know that there's some crazy people that just love everything, but I don't think that this is a good horror movie. I don't think it's a good Five Nights at Freddy's movie. We played a bunch of the recent ones and and then the originals. It's not.
It doesn't deliver on scares. Doesn't deliver on story.
There was not even good.
Doesn't deliver on
Because the game you're trying to
gore,
escape,
Doesn't
and
deliver
this
on
one's like,
kills.
all right, I'm leaving.
Doesn't
No.
where does
PG.
it deliver? So I don't understand how an audience can come out. Yeah, that was a great film.
Because you really need to know the lore. It's like, oh, they have the spring trap there, and they have this thing, and like they, like Alex was saying,
The
earlier with
collectibles.
the
He's like, oh, hi.
collectibles.
He's
Oh,
found
I
the
remember the little
They have it in the game. That's cool. and
JJ
they-
popped up.
and
Yeah.
just it's this member berries.
8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like I don't think that it's a good horror movie. I think there's a lot of great horror movies out there that you can go out and watch, and I don't think this is one of them.
Yes.
And what's crazy
I have
is
some to recommend later.
there is a really good movie here because I do think the set was cool. And like the
Yeah.
entire time I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, they really fucked that up. Wow, they really fucked that up. Wow. And the reason that it gets the wow is anytime that there's an evil Chuck E. Cheese filled with like demonic children possessing animatronics, fuck yeah, sign me up because that sounds cool as
Joe
shit.
hates children. Joe hates little kids. He's like, that's the creepiest thing. Little kids laughing at me and shit. He don't like it.
Yeah.
It's
And so
scary.
But it's not. But like, completely bungled.
yeah, it didn't do anything with it. And so that's the problem I have is just like, wow, I definitely see the potential here. It could have been so cool. Set this, like, have a giant storm and he's trapped in there. He can't leave for a couple days. Hey, you can't
Yeah.
leave. Power starts flickering. And then, like, there's all sorts of things that you can do. And they did
Exactly.
none of it. And then at the very end, like, they're like, all right, maybe we're building towards some tension. And they take 15 minutes to do nothing.
That tension is deflating.
And so it's just constantly deflating anything this could have possibly set up.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a second or third from this team of people. Maybe they got to maybe you find new writers. Now that you made some big money.
But the point that you made in the news episode, we talked about it in the news episode, is unfortunately the powers that be will think that, oh, it
This
made
is
all
what-
this
this
money
is what people want.
because of the
Yeah.
direction of Emma Tammy and because of the screenplay by Scott Cawthon,
We made
Seth
money,
Cuddleback,
it.
and Emma
Don't
Tammy.
change a thing.
Yeah, and anytime you see something like this, I think that as consumers, you need to be more upset than you are. I get that you want to be positive about something, but this is a giant pile of dog shit. And if you love video game franchises and want these movies to get better, and you want good horror movies that you can actually honestly recommend to people that, like, you're going to love this movie,
Yeah.
you need to be like, hey, this story wasn't very good, and send a message to these people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to get subpar video game horror movies forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
I was counting down from night 5. I was like, can something please happen?
Okay, so I think we all agree that the visuals are good, the sets are good, the animatronics are perfect, and they basically just kind of fucked up the story. And I'll also even go a little further. I don't think the acting is very strong. I think a lot of these characters very wooden, very stiff, not that interesting. Anybody could play any of these roles, and really not much.
Except
is
Matthew
there.
Lillard. He's a treasure.
Yes.
Matthew Lillard. Yes, I like Matthew Lillard. But even in his roles, he's not quite where he needs to be. All right. Well, but and then the other thing is, it remains, as far as the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, it remains faithful, except for the tie-in to the
main guy?
subplot from Mike. These children, essentially, and we'll talk about it in spoilers. But yeah, let's go ahead and go with final verdicts on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Since I was gonna give probably Slaughterhouse a 3, I'm gonna go with 4 on this one. Yeah, 4 for me.
Yeah, we
wasted
unfortunately okay. It is better than Slaughterhouse. We were excited at the
Congratulations.
beginning of the year. We were like, man, we can't wait for this to come out. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be over the top. It's the Slaughterhouse. It was none of that. It was fucking awful.
Yeah,
Me and
again,
Joe
like
hated it.
the
2
kills,
out of 10.
the kills are
2
super
out of
fucking
10 from
boring.
Joe.
Yeah.
So you're like, this is better than that.
Yeah, it is, but it's still they should have done better with it. This had potential, and like again, they really fucked it up with like dividing all this stuff. Is like doing all this subplot,
Yeah.
leaving the.
I think Five Nights at
Place.
Freddy's has a very inherent and perhaps designed limitation from these suits. The only way when I was watching this, and then I see the first kills when the bad guys go into the Five Nights at Freddy's, event, and then things happen. I'm like, okay, I see some potential here, but in order for it to do what it needs to do, it's going to get an R, okay? And it can't be a PG-13. In fact, this film might as well have been a PG almost. I mean, there's really nothing in it that is really gonna fucking do anything as far as shocking kids and stuff. There is one kill that might do it, but I don't think so.
Even then, I was just like, okay, we need the 13, so we'll do that one kill that brings it up
That
to
one
13.
kill, yeah.
I was like, that's pretty stupid. But again, like I said, going back to the game, that one had more tension because you're stuck, you're trying to escape, and they also play with the cameras. The cameras was kind of the like most important part, and here they didn't really do anything with
But
the
that
cameras.
would have led to more jump scares, which you hate.
Well,
And so I thought
that's what the game
here's
is.
what we
but
thought.
again,
We were like, did you expect anything other than jump scares? We expected atmosphere and tension, and then jump scares.
yes.
And what we got was no atmosphere, well, a little bit here and there, and the tension deflated constantly, and then some jump scares that are extremely weak. There's like 3 or 4 that are weak, and mostly it was just vanilla kills here and there, and then reveals of who is behind this and that. But that's not scary. What is that? It's almost. Anyways, it gets a little, it gets wacky and not in the best ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 out of 10 from Joe. What about Alex?
I think that because you said that Slaughterhouse that was your mistake. The Slaughterhouse is probably worse.
It is a
because
2 out of 10.
I don't think that this movie is just slightly below average. I think that this is an aggressively bad movie. I think when it's being faithful to the game and we have the animatronics, even if they're teleporting places, I buy that. They're demon children. Give me more of that. half of the movie is this dude who is so crazy about his brother getting kidnapped that he's willing to let his current sister get eaten, and it's like they keep going on. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to? He's also a piece of shit that doesn't believe that fathers can exist, and he like beats up a man, and he doesn't just, the thing where he gets fired from his job. He beats the shit out of a dude.
I know that.
It's like,
He should've gone to
I
jail.
buy. There's nothing wrong with that. He has trauma from his own father basically deserting the thing. But this is all besides.
yeah,
the point.
I think that all of the characters, anything that they made for this movie is aggressively bad. Aggressively bad. I don't like I think Mike's a piece of shit. I think his character sucks, and I don't think anything he did with the daughter was great. Everything is incredibly transparent. I think you have to be a child to not understand what is happening. And I think you have to be a dumb child to have been surprised by anything, including the jump scares. This is not a good movie. And it's like, I'm glad that you can go to the movies and have a good time, but I can go to the movies and watch garbage with people and have like a beer and have a good time. But I know the difference between being a good consumer is I know what made me have fun, and it's my friends and the beer. And this movie will have nothing to do with your fun or entertainment. This is not good. And we're going to get nothing but this and Super Mario and garbage forever if you constantly, tell everyone how good this shit is. It's not. This is not good. Stop it.
I need a rating.
Oh, I gave it a 3.
A 3. Oh, I was certain you're going to give it a 2.
No.
Why does it get the extra fucking point?
I think that it does get a couple points because I do love the idea of the haunted Chuck E. Cheese. I think that they built a haunted Chuck E. Cheese, and then even though they're people in suits, it did look really cool. So there is some cool stuff here, but the rating...
No, there's not cool stuff. Any of the cool stuff that's here came directly from the game.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean. They recreated cool stuff. And you get a point. Or
I guess
two for
there's
that.
one thing at the end dealing with the rib cage, and we'll talk about that in the spoilers.
Yeah.
But okay, so 3 out of 10. That's where I was. I can see where Joe is on that scale of Slaughterhouse. So
Yeah,
you went
I
to
was
4.
like,
Do you want to change that, Joe? Because now it's like I think. It is it is kind of bad. It was a waste of time.
It's a
There
waste of
wasn't
time.
any-
I'm still saying that.
I mean, Willy's Wonderland is better. Banana Splits, You Said is better. So I'm also going to go 3 out of 10. The critics are right. And you guys will say, oh, y'all are crazy. This is the most amazing movie. If you want to do that, that's great. I would love it if you, in the comments, you'd write down exactly what scared you about the film, why you thought there was a lot of tension. I'm just curious from your angle. But to me,
whoever Velcros your shoes in the morning, have them grab a keyboard for you and type it in.
But to me, like like everything that sets up tension, every film horror we've seen hundreds of horror films, it does it poorly, and it does a disservice to it. And I think it was trying to mash these two stories together in order to maybe get a trilogy out of it. And I guess we're gonna get. And then also inherently, I felt like they didn't take the license seriously. They want to Hollywoodize it to where it's not too scary for children, because it is the majority of children is like your TikTokers and your Fortniters. It's marketed to be acceptable for them to watch. And their parents are going to watch it with them, so you can't piss them off. So it's like you can't do... Here's what the point I was trying to make is like, if this to work, it needs to be even more aggressive than Willy's Wonderland. It needs to be gory, it needs to be bloody, it needs to be scary,
kids.
and it needs oppressive atmosphere of this fucking place that you can't get out of, and they're constantly after you, and you have no means of fighting them. You have to figure out what's going on. Yes. And they this is none of that. It's nowhere near it. So I have no idea. It's like, these amazing characters. I was so invested in the custody battle of, what's the girl's name? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something in A, right? I don't know.
Nadine. I will just make it up because we didn't care. Anyways, so maybe there was that inherent limitation of the PG-13 or of trying to appeal to everybody and making a homogenized product that is forgettable and it has no hard edge. And maybe there's a market for it. And I know there's a market for it because now everybody and their mom and other studios are seeing how successful this is, and they're like, there's a market here. So let's crank out more fucking homogenized PG-13 horror films based on video games. Now, what I can hope for is there will be some projects that are like, let's go harder, let's do a hard edge, and we'll get some good
That'd be
shit out
sweet.
of it. But and then the other good thing is, wow, they barely invest any money. They got a lot of money. Let's start investing in more video game stuff. That's the positive that I can pull from it, because I am not interested in a Five Nights at Freddy's 2 or 3 after having seen this. I don't know if I gave my rating. It is a 3 out of 10. I think this is a 3 out of 10. And the only thing I can hope for, Joe, because you know a sequel's coming, is that they do a Ouija board situation. Remember when the first Ouija movie came out? It was awful,
The prequel,
and then they
yeah.
did a prequel, and we were like, "Hey, that was
Better, yeah.
actually pretty good." So I guess I could just hope for that situation. Anyways, that's it. Let's go into the spoiler section. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Hey, spoiler section. So basically, this dude can't hold a job. His name is Mike, and he beats up a father at a mall security job because he thinks the kid is either getting kidnapped or it's just a father's being a piece of shit. Because we learn later on that his father and mother, the mother has passed away. The father he just says he just left. So he's a deadbeat dad, and so he probably has a lot of aggression against fathers, as I was saying. All right. And so he beats up the father and loses his job at the mall security. So he
So you got in jail.
goes to a career man, an unemployment office, and this guy is like, well, we got nothing. Starts being nice to him. He's like, I got something.
He's going to read his last name, and then he twists his mustache and goes, "No, I've killed your
yeah.
brother. You can have a job now." It's like, okay, thank you.
Yes. So the big reveal there. Well, before we get to that point, is he has these dreams of when he was a child. He's hanging out with his little brother and a picturesque family at camping, but his brother gets captured by some weirdo. And never implied what happens. I'm not going to use the word for the people that capture kids, but he could be a killer. He could be that. Who knows? Because here on YouTube. Anyways, so that's what they think. But it turns out it was this guy the whole time. So his career manager. And Alex points out that, he notices his name. He thinks it's funny. He's going to be the new security guard at this place. So at first he declines the job, but he is pressured into it because of the other extraneous subplot bullshit that's dumb. His aunt wants
Jane.
custody of the kid. She's a bitch.
She wants the custody of Abby because the government check is so juicy and lucrative that he can't even afford to pay his bills on time or pay a babysitter or
Yeah,
do
she
anything.
just can't
And
wait
it's
for
just
that
like,
Abby moment.
what?
You
Like,
remembered her name.
yeah, he
pull it
looked it up.
Because I looked up Abby. And Abby was her name.
And so it's this part of the story is so weak, and there's no
Yes.
believability in any of the motivations here. That again, they just had to scrap all of this stuff.
Yeah, and I thought that a lot of this stuff would be to set up, the characters and then get us to care about them as they go in to get slaughtered and things. And I guess that's what happens, but it's not investing. You're not invested. So, he takes the job. Eventually goes over there, and they basically say, I just need you to keep people away. The owner of this place has sentimental value to it, and he basically sets up. So you got the monitors, you got everything from the game. He sits down, and he's in the game.
Do something with it.
Yeah, do something with it. They don't really do that with anything with it. Instead, he gets up almost immediately. They don't even really do the monitors. They do it later for the robbers that come in later. But so they keep it very like there's no scares right there.
Yeah, because they fucked it up in my eyes again because he's on sleeping pills, so he's looking at the camera, he sees some movements, like maybe it's just the meds or something. Start building something up from that first night, but nothing.
Yeah, so that first night, we do get our first jump scare. It was a little collectible toy that he opens his locker. Oh, and I was like, that was awful. And then finally, a cop pulls up, and he kind of she seems connected to the property or something. I don't know. She's just acting weird. And or that was maybe the second night. But anyways, they do a phone call intro like the game. I like how they set that up. The dude who's recommending the job kind of sets it up just like the video game. And it's the first time I realized this. At Five Nights at Freddy's, your security, and you're looking at the interior monitors that is inside. But if this place has been abandoned for 30 years, then you should be looking at monitors of the property outside to make sure nobody comes in, right? But I guess it just is true. But it's so that you can see
Stop
the
with your
monsters
logic,
walking
okay?
around.
Stop with your
Oh,
logic.
do we get to see the monsters walking around?
No, not
Oh.
on the first night, not on the second night. I think we get to see them later on in the third when the robbers come in the fourth.
Yeah.
But so we get a training video, and it's funny. It could have been creepier. This is where I think that they really need a harder edge here, because when he gets creeped out by it because it will freeze a little bit or it'll do some static. None of that is creepy. It doesn't build, and it's very easy to make those types of videos creepy. But yeah, the first jump scare was the little dude in the locker. Then, anyways, these children invade his reoccurring dream. His brother is being captured by this creepy dude. And then he turns around, the kids are there. They run away, and he's like, what the hell? And he runs after him. Long story short, we figure out that these kids... Well, first, actually, Matt Pat has a cameo in this. He's like a server at a diner, and it's because the aunt wants to take she's coming up with a plan with the babysitter and this shady guy to basically break into Freddy's to make him look incompetent because
Lose
he
his
can't
job,
lose his
and
job.
then we'll get the daughter.
Yeah. So Matt Pat, it's cool to see him. He's a YouTuber. If you haven't seen it in theory, he even does his theory thing. He says that's just a theory. And I think at one point they wanted Markiplier in it, but I think he was already working on his movie, so he might have made a cameo, but he couldn't. I'm sure he's going to be in 2 and 3. But anyway, so the aunt, the sister, does not want to be with the aunt character.
She's mean.
Yeah.
And she smells
and
like
her
cigarettes.
whole thing is she's slightly special needs on the spectrum. All she does all day is draw pictures. She doesn't really want to eat, so she's difficult to deal with a little bit. But she clearly loves her brother, and she does not want to visit her aunt. And so we're like, how is this going to factor in? A vulnerable child, he's going to bring her, and she's going to be at risk. And that's essentially what it is. So then we get our second scare of the whole film, and it's stupid. He catches a kid, and the kid cuts him. So he has the reoccurring dream. This time he manages to catch up to one of the kid, grabs him. The kid has a hook hand. He's the fox, and cuts him.
Chase a kid.
And
Don't
then he
chase a
goes,
kid with a hook hand.
his mouth is out and his eyes are bleeding, and they do that YouTube effect, that everybody did, I don't know, 18 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just really bad, and it made me laugh out loud because it is an annoying kid screaming, and it's just stupid. And then the cop shows up at that point, and he notices he's bleeding, and it's just a weird thing. And then we get our first attack. So dudes bust in to the place to bust it up, and almost immediately the animatronics wake up to defend the place. And these reveals are really weak. They're not set up. They're not tension filled. Like the kills just happen. The first guy opens a freezer, sees the cupcake there, and then he looks away. The cupcake's not there, and then he looks back, and then the cupcake flies at his head. Oh no! The chica is holding the cupcake, and then it flies at his head. And then another robber notices the guy getting killed by the cupcake and chica, and then he screams and he runs into a closet. And that's when we get Bonnie. Bonnie attacks that guy, but you don't see it.
PG-13. They put some blood on there.
Man, but a little bit of blood. It could be jam, Joe. That was jam. And it's like really bad.
They're pretty good at cleaning it up after themselves, though.
Yeah, and the third robber's running, and then he looks on the monitors, and I'm like, okay, finally they're going to do something with the monitors. What they do with the monitors is the two animatronics are looking at him. It's Bonnie and what's the chica, and chica bends over. I'm like, what is happening here? It turns out she puts the cupcake in a vent, and there's oh shit, and then he tries to stop the cupcake. It just looks ridiculous. It looks funny. It's not scary. It's just it's fun, and I'm like, okay, I can see, but our fun levels are 2 out of 10. If we're just gonna go with fun, let's ramp it up to 10 out of 10. Let's get silly with it. Let's do something. But no, he runs from the cupcake. and he gets attacked by the fox.
Yeah. at the
And
very
that
end.
one is
Yeah.
just like the video
Yeah.
game where it zooms in and it flies towards you, and I'm like, okay. But it's all off screen. They cut. You don't ever see anything. I'm like, okay, well, it'll get more violent later on. They're setting that up. No, it doesn't.
Because that was night 3. He has to go clean up and do all that stuff.
Yeah. I did forget about the babysitter who walks in, and this is the most gruesome thing in the whole film. Is she's led by Freddy, by the little kid Freddy. It's a ghost child, and then she looks at Freddy's mouth and sticks her head in the mouth for no apparent reason because he's like, I'm in here or whatever, and it bites her, and her torso falls down
In shadow.
with literally no blood. Well,
Yeah.
like one
After
or two drops of
comes
blood
back, yeah.
that is colored black, and you can't see it. It's so stupid. And then, so after all these things happen, you know, the cop shows up and he's like, I found your pills. And it's like, wait a minute, how wouldn't there be this big thing, you know? And it turns out that the cop is secretly the daughter of this, and she's helping to cover it up. Instead, she's like, how did you let these people break in? And then he has talkie time with her. And he talks about his past trauma and his brother
whole will they,
Garrett and
won't
all this other
they?
bullshit. And yeah, the will they, won't they. But during all this, the third night, you know, the sister character, after there's no babysitter, he's forced to bring her to the thing. And through this, she ends up playing with the fucking, you know, things. And he runs over there, and they're all like animatronic, and they're walking. Now, they do an explanation at the beginning of the film that these are the most advanced animatronics, and so they can walk around and roam around the place. But I don't know about you. I'm out of here immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. That's what it says. Like, no, that's third night, not coming back.
Yeah, so it's just weird. And the sister knows that they're ghost children. And it's like, how are they moving on their own? Then the cop shows up, and then they build a fucking fort on the fourth night.
Yes.
There's 4 nights, and on the 4th night, they're building a fort. I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And so at this point, he knows that they're ghosts. And he goes back. And he takes the girl again. And he even leaves her in the room with ghost robots that are powerful.
That have slashed him open while he was sleeping.
We just, and red-eyed him at one point, and he just leaves. It's just dumb as fuck. And then this whole subplot with him wanting to find Garrett finally meets with this main plot. And it's just odd. I don't care about Garrett. We don't care about Mike. All we care about is Freddy's and wanting to see the kills. And they rush through those burglar kills. And we know that Mike is not at risk. The little girl's not at risk. None of this is interesting at all.
He takes out Freddy and Bonnie in like 5 seconds.
That's right.
He dumps water on the stage and then just tases the stage. And then this is the big climax of the movie.
So the
where-
5th night,
That's when
they basically do one more dream with him. Or previously, he's like, hell, can you help me? Ghost children, can you help me? Tell me where Garrett went. And they're like, all right, so as long as you trade us something. And then he realizes that they want Abby. And he says yes initially in his dream. And then he realizes no. And then he's like, fuck, I need to go
Yeah,
and
because
stop them.
the kids show him it was the bunny. It was like it was Will or Matt.
Yeah. So then he goes over there on the 5th night at Freddy's, and then he gets advice from Vanessa that electricity is the key to stopping them. And so he brings a taser gun, and what does he do?
Yeah, he dumps water on the stage, and then he shocks the stage, and he takes out Freddy and Bonnie immediately.
Yeah.
And they're out. As far his conflict,
Yeah.
they're out. He just takes them out immediately.
They suck. And Chica is also leading Abby away to go turn her into one of them. I don't know what character they have set up here for her to be put into. I couldn't really find it. Somebody tell me what character that was. I have written down here what animatronic it could be. I'll find it later. But he stops her with a fucking,
Taser again.
taser again. So
He's like, hey, I got a taser, and he tasers her.
So immediately these ghost children, demonic, satanic, they're not demonic, they're not satanic, they're just ghost children. They're immediately pushovers, and you're no longer scared of them.
After the taxi
they
scene,
could disappear. They could show up behind you, and you can be like, "Oh fuck," all these things. But he can't die, so it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's everything has kit gloves on it. We have to turn these into anti-heroes at some point, so we can't do anything to them, and it just sucks.
they can walk across town or teleport across town and then get into a taxi and go back to Fazbear's,
That was
which
hilarious, Alex.
yeah, I laughed the entire time.
Well, on the fourth night before this fifth night, Vanessa gets mad at him. If you bring Abby here again, I'll shoot you. All right. And then we have the dream where he says yes but no. And when he says no, he pisses off the kids and they disappear. And he's like, oh, my God. And the kids are running around. I was just laughing. It was just so stupid. And they're like cutting him. And he wakes up. And he's in the machine, and luckily, because the previous guy at the beginning of the film that got killed by the saw, now it turns into Saw, he pulls the nail out so that he can get out of the machine. Yeah. Meanwhile, Freddy goes to get Abby at his house. He kills the aunt, and then he's like, "Come with me, let's play." And then he's like, "How do we get there, though?" And then they do the stupid taxi Uber thing, and she gets in the taxi. And then the big animatronic Freddy gets in, and the dude's like, "Whoa, okay, let's go."
I get all the weird ones.
It's for the trailer. Yeah. At some point, they drop a line. They're not just ghosts, but their bodies are in there too. So I guess these are dead children in there.
The full line is that he hid the bodies in the one place that the adults would never know to look, inside the first place the kids would want to crawl inside, which is the giant hollow animatronic
This
thing
made no
that has a
sense.
gap specifically for a human being. And it's like,
They don't
no,
think to look in there. These bodies aren't rotting.
It's like-
we're not smelling anything.
it's like, what?
Febreze.
It's like, why even say it?
Yeah.
Just why say it?
And so the guy William Afton or something like
Yeah.
that is the main guy, and he's like he has control over those kids because it's like, why are these kids not helping? They just want more people to be like them, but they're evil only because William says that they need to be evil. Why? How does that work? Anyways, it's revealed that Vanessa it's her father, and Vanessa says that, "Oh, my father took your brother," and he realizes what he shows her a picture. She shows him a picture where she's playing with the same toy that her brother had. I'm like, oh God, what are we
They
doing?
only ever made
Coincidence?
one of those in the entire 80s.
He's like, what's going on? How do I stop them? And she's like, electricity is the key. Okay, so they were trying to put her either in it looks like the Music Man or a Ballora, the ballerina one.
Mhm.
I
Just
don't
looking
know.
at him.
Anyways, and then, but Abby realized, so Abby runs. She thought that these were her friends. And then, she runs from Foxy because the fox was looking for her. And so she jumps into a ball pit. And she's about to be killed because the fox notices her red eyes, is about to grab her. But right before it can, the cop shows up. Vanessa decides, change of heart, she's going to save Abby. And then Abby immediately screams, "Foxy!" Because
Why? It's like
she's literally
Foxy was
scared
about
of
to
it and
kill
running
you.
from it. So why is she going, "Foxy"? It's just terrible acting, terrible thing. And then finally we get the reveal, the golden bunny, killer guy, William in his suit comes out, and he uses his taser to stop him. That doesn't work.
Doesn't work on him.
He just bows up and gets even bigger or something. And then he takes his helmet off, and it is revealed. We were all like, "What?
No way.
No way! Not possible!" And yeah. So, and Vanessa puts the gun on him, and he clearly doesn't really care about his daughter, even though he's been with her the whole time. I don't know. He just doesn't give a fuck about her.
it's like,
And
you killed all these kids.
yeah, and she's been helping him the whole time.
Well, she knew about it.
She's been helping him murder all of the security guards all these years.
And they're dead children that he's controlling, and yet her character motivation is, I'm not going to let Abby die because she's a child, but
Because she saw the goodness in Josh, a.k.a. Mike.
PETA.
Yes. I don't know.
Kids are too far. Look, killing shitty people who will agree to be security guards, totally fine.
He killed kids over and over.
Yeah, but she didn't help him kill kids. She was a kid while he was killing kids.
Yes,
And now
but now she's supporting a kid killer.
Yeah. But now he's not a kid killer anymore. And now he's a grown-up killer.
No.
He's a grown-up killer now. And she's
killed
fine
kids.
with that.
Anyway, so it talks to him, and they fight. And, he takes his helmet off, and it's revealed. But then Abby realizes, or he realizes that they're controlling him. Or is it Vanessa that says it? Somebody says that he's controlling them via the pictures.
Yeah,
because at some point, the picture was put up with the yellow one happy with all the other ones. So Abby quickly draws a picture of him attacking all the kids. And so then the
While
kids are
Vanessa's
like,
getting choked out, he's just watching her draw this picture. He's like, oh, that's a mean picture. Don't put that up. Don't you dare put that up. Oh, she put it up.
She put it up. And, well, he does stab his daughter and he throws her or whatever. So he puts the drawing on the board, and guess what? The Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics are now anti-heroes, and they go after him. Woo! They don't do anything.
No,
It's not cool. There's not a showdown. They don't really attack him. He, the suit itself starts to crumple in him. I thought this was creative and cool. The claws start to go into his ribcage. I'm like, ooh, that's like the one thing I was like, oh, kind of cool. And you can see a little hole and opening in it.
Spring trap. But I guess.
And then they drag him off. Okay. That's it. The building starts collapsing a little bit.
Yep. They leave.
And the sound, I don't know if this sounds awesome or epic, but it is flat the whole time, and it's just not exciting. And that's pretty much it. He saves Officer Vanessa on the way out because she got stabbed really deep with this huge knife, but I guess she's okay. Takes her to the hospital, and that's it. That's fucking it. And then they do a small scene of the kid looking at, and then he's like, all right, we're happy again or whatever. Or what happens to Mike and Abby?
He has full custody of her now.
And she's better. She's making friends.
She's talking to real people at school. But she's still drawing pictures of dead children.
Yeah, and she's like, I want to visit them again. And he's like, no. And then he says, well, anything's possible. So he's up for it, maybe. Don't shake your head. No, he says yes.
Yeah, but that's a dumb thing to go back.
It's fucking stupid.
Yes,
right.
That's what I'm saying.
But they're heroes now. Throw them into 5 Nights at Freddy's. Freddy's, dude. And then they show Freddy again, the little kid, and he is staring at the yellow rabbit.
William.
And who he's like continuing to be hurt, not dying, just continuing to be hurt. And then he closes the door as the rabbit is on the floor. Getting hurt. He doesn't die. We got to keep him alive for the sequel for some fucking reason.
Absolutely, yeah.
So stupid. And then the credits roll, and they spell out, "Come find me." I think it is. And I guess maybe they're either hinting at Garrett maybe still being alive or something, and him maybe can get Garrett back. I don't know how they could do a sequel with this or whatever. Who owns this place? This guy is now dying. Who's going to take care of this place? How is it not condemned? They tried to, knock it down before. I don't know.
The robots.
But the director did say he wants to follow the second and third game's plots, and I don't remember. I didn't play the second and third game, so I don't know what those plots are. We'll have to look it up. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah. It was a disappointment.
Leaving it completely unresolved, and it was a super disappointment, and we wasted our time, and now you know everything that happens, and you don't have to waste your time, or so you can agree with us, and you were like, yeah, that was a disappointment, but I think people went to it mainly because there was nothing to do this Halloween. It's a thing to do during the Halloween. The kids wanted to do it, and it succeeded off name alone, and this signals to executives that there is a market for these kinds of movies, and maybe they'll invest more money and put better writing teams together for stuff in the future. That's what we can hope for, at least. All right, well, that's it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.